Beats Planet.
All right, we got a little bit going now. Hold on, y'all. Y'all don't go nowhere now. We trying to get Brother Foots patched in, and I'm not looking directly at my chat box, but I know that if I go over there, I'm bound to see a lot of people that ain't on my team, a bunch of fake people that's just talking crazy about me behind my back while I'm not looking. I know it's bound to be a gang of people hating in the chat box. So hold on, let me get Brother Foots tapped in, and then we're going to talk some Cowboys draft. We're gonna talk some Cowboys draft. And hey man, shouts out to everybody for being here, man. Go check out my Jeff Okuda film session I dropped this morning. I'm gonna drop like 3 more this week. Maybe 5. So stay tuned in. Okay, let me poke out the chat box. Bam. There they go. Alright, so I ain't looking at that page. This is the funny part. Brother Foots clicked on twice and it was working and it was good to go, but he clicked off. So what we're gonna do today is since the last time me and Foots have talked, a lot of vibes have changed. And that's typically what happens in draft world. Vibes change every single don't go nowhere. Hold up. Hello? Foots, don't go nowhere. Can you hear me?
I got you.
Look, man, I was trying to get you on and you left, and you came back and you left. I was like, hold on, let me hang tight.
I like this one, Voch.
Yeah, man, it's a cool little
clean.
It's a cool little setup, man. You can run it directly to your YouTube. I haven't done that yet. I'll probably play around with it and do some other little work, but you can hit that little button and do other little things, and you could share the screen and all that, but we'll work on that later. We just using this right now to talk to the good people about the draft. I was letting them know that since me and you last talked, a lot of vibes have changed in the draft, and that's typical draft things. Like every time something happens every few weeks or so that kind of changes up the narrative a little bit. So I'm catching up with you about the vibes. We got a couple 3-round mocks that we're gonna throw back and forth.
Ooh.
You know what I'm saying? Between each other, just to kind of give people an idea of who they need to be looking for, who they need to be watching film on, because the film's on my channel. They can go check that out. They can go listen to you, get your analysis as well. We just got stuff to talk about, man. We just got stuff. We just got stuff to do, man.
Voch, we got a lot to talk about. With the combine happening, with checks, medical checks. I mean, on a wider scope, you start thinking about. Let's start thinking about a Tua. How does he affect this draft early on? I mean, everybody, the draft starts at 3.
Sure.
Well, not really. Listen, I think where there's smoke, there's fire when it comes to this Tua Redskins talk. That's just me. I mean, let's be honest. And this is just very early on in the show, but
sure.
You're thinking about Dwayne Haskins and Tua if they are both healthy, right?
Yeah.
Who would you
Tua?
Right, and you wouldn't even think twice.
Because look, folks, watch this. Somebody on the Twitter the other day, they was like, yo, Voch, but they just drafted Haskins. Why would they get rid of him? Fam, we just saw this with Josh Rosen. We just saw it with him. Josh Rosen he was in Arizona to get the first overall pick, and just as fast as he was there, he gets shipped the hell out. So now we got to have a conversation like, can Haskins be traded somewhere if they end up getting to it, which will be another set of dominoes to fall. All the mocks you've seen have been predicated on if Chase Young goes number 2, then what? Well, if Tua is taken at number 2, then it turns into a foot race to go get Justin Herbert, because nobody expected Tua to be gone that long. So now you got even more movement at the top of the board. Then you got the rumors from Miami saying, hey man, we might not even trade up for Tua. We don't like Tua like that. We like Justin Herbert a little better. You know what I mean? So all that's going to eventually affect the guys that we possibly could get.
It's gonna affect it in so many ways. I mean, we spoke about it earlier,
Sure.
Voch, pre-show, getting ready for the show. We got a loaded show for y'all, man. Like, to
Loaded.
be honest,
Mhm.
this one is loaded. But when it comes to the top of the draft, these tackles, this quarterback, you want chaos.
Sure.
You want chaos draft day.
Sure.
You want something crazy to happen. What happened 2 years ago when Oakland drafted the DN from Clemson? You
Fair.
want something like just out of nowhere. You're like, huh?
Sure.
Like, and even if you're a Skins fan, I don't know how many Skins fans are watching you, Voch. I know you have a league wide reach.
Sure.
I know you all love Chase Young.
Mhm.
I love Chase Young. Get it, the whole nine.
Yeah.
Chase Young isn't gonna win you games.
Sure.
He's not gonna score points.
Sure.
All right. And we're just talking about it. I mean, a defensive end year one, if he has a great season, it's 12 sacks.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess that's great.
Yeah.
But you can have all of that. And listen, look at Denver the last couple of years. No quarterback play, defense kind of starts rotting away. And then out of nowhere, those guys, you look up and they start to get old. So I think the point is, if, and just piggybacking on Tua, Ron Rivera is not married to Dwayne Haskins.
Sure.
He didn't draft him. And I don't care. I know there's this whole thing about Washington fans where, the quarterbacks with Griffin, and they've mishandled quarterbacks for years. That really, you can't let that affect you, passing on a once in a lifetime player, because you pass on Tua, he turns out to be this 15-year vet who makes Pro Bowls and makes Super Bowls. Because I'll be honest, I think Tua Tagovailoa is a Pro Bowler in the league.
Sure.
Like, I do. I think if he's protected, I mean, he literally came in and took one of Alabama legends' job.
Sure.
And never gave it back.
Yeah.
And really changed the way Alabama played football. So it's just funny to me. I see people really have forgotten just how good he is. So that's just one note, really, like with draft season, how stuff starts to change over, Voch.
If you're a Cowboys fan, would you rather have Washington draft Tua or draft Chase Young?
So for me, I would absolutely 100% rather have them draft Tua.
Okay.
Because that means somebody's going to move up to get Chase. The dominoes will keep falling.
So now, I would rather them take Chase Young, because I think we can still beat the hell out of, Washington, even if they got Chase Young. I think, okay, so what we're looking for the chat box listen, whatever, we want parity at the top 16. That's a magic number. Now, I feel what you're saying, but Tua and Chase Young going to be in the top 16 anyway. You see what I mean?
Oh, okay. So I see what you're saying. But
right,
I was
right,
looking at it from a draft perspective.
Right. No. You a Cowboy fan. Who would you rather deal with?
They don't scare me.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they don't scare me with Chase Young.
Sure.
Because I think that, like, he's the type of pass rusher that, like, Tyron Smith is going to eat his lunch.
Sure.
Because he won't be able to speed like that rush. He's going to have to develop a little more power in his game. And now we really have like two, like Dallas has the two best tackles in the league.
Yeah.
So I'm not worried. I am worried if they pair Tua and 17 together and they start to grow and the offense start. That's what I'm saying. Like, Dwayne Haskins isn't accurate. His feet are bad. And, he's not the athlete that Tua is. He's just not. So it's going to be interesting to see, Voch, how this all plays out. I know we didn't turn this into Redskins talk.
No.
Just something to think about.
It's very relevant to what we're doing. So how about this, though? We were talking about this earlier. We need more and more people to fall into that top 16. That's that magic number for us. I said my guy to you on the phone earlier, and we just both kind of had a moment about it. Do you have any guy that probably wasn't in the top 16 but is post-combine now? A few other things have happened. Pro Day is going on right now. CeeDee Lamb tearing up his Pro Day right now. Who do you think is probably gonna end up in the top 16 that wasn't there at first?
So a couple of things based off of the combine. I know we said we will hit that.
Sure.
There's going to be a lot of movement.
Yeah.
Surprisingly more than what people think. Beckman, He's I think he's a top 10
Sure.
player now.
Sure. Louisville.
Like
Yep.
Louisville tackle absolutely demolished the combine.
Sure.
I think he's a top 10. You can book it. Now, what do you feel about the Georgia tackle? Because he had a good combine as well.
I'll tell you what though, and first of all, let me just say it's about
And
Mekhi Becton.
I have a few others as well, Voch, but I'll let
Absolutely.
you hit those two as well.
Absolutely. Just a quick thought about Mekhi Becton. Like y'all notice how he's not fat at all. Like he's like 360,
He's really not.
but he's just as fat as the other fat boys out there. Fantastic. So what I think is going to happen is, and it's a fantastic thing for us. And some people in the chat box asking for me to make the phones lit. Maybe at the end, let me and Foots work, and then we'll maybe do some calls later. But what I think is going to happen is everybody at the top is going to have different tackles on their board. You know what I mean? And some teams may even move around and get another tackle. So, you can listen to the Daniel Jeremiahs or whatever who will have like Wills first, then Wirfs, then Becton, then Thomas. Somebody asked me, Voch, why is Thomas falling down, draft boards? Well, stop looking at pre-April draft boards, because some team may have Thomas higher than Becton and Wills. Like if I could just break them down for a little bit, Wills is kind of a balanced guy, but he's more of a pass blocker. He could work in run blocking. Thomas is clearly the better run blocker. And kind of can do a little work on his passing.
More power, yeah.
Absolutely. If you're a team like Tennessee that runs the ball mostly, you would rather have a Thomas than a Wills. Becton is more of your upside guy. He could be better than all of them. You know what I mean? He just got to work on his technique a little bit. He's more powerful. He got the size. The movement. Wills is the guy that give you Wirfs from Iowa. He gives you versatility to work inside and out. If you want a guy that can come in and play guard, that can be a tackle for you, then he's the guy. So there's no clear tackle number one here. You know what I mean? So it doesn't matter what the pundits could say. Oh, Andrew Thomas is falling. Somebody may have Andrew Thomas as they tackle number one. You know what I mean? And that goes along with the parity that we're trying to create. Now, every year, I think there are three kinds of tackles every single year. There's the guys that you need to draft real early. There's the guys who are kind of whack, but they feet good, so people going to overdraft them. And there's the people that you just shouldn't touch at all, right? So the top four are the guys that we just talked about. Those guys I think are going to be absolutely good football players, right? But there's these next two guys. First, we're going to touch on these two. There are two offensive linemen that got good feet, but I don't think they're real good, but somebody may overdraft them because their feet are real good. That is Josh Jones from Houston and Austin Jackson from USC.
I wanted your thoughts on him. Wow. You read my mind. Can I just let me jump in real quick.
Go ahead.
Wirfs.
Sure.
Wirfs to me is the most league ready at guard.
Sure.
Like and I think he can play tackle.
Sure.
But it's something about that Iowa pedigree. When you said his name, I'm like, wow.
He's physical.
People, yeah, and you want. Listen, when I tell you, you want these guys being pushed up. Hell, draft Josh Jones. I've been seeing mock drafts with Josh Jones going to Tampa Bay.
Sure.
I've been seeing mock drafts with Josh Jones, going to 10 to Cleveland. Mm-hmm. All of these teams need tackle help. And that just the value of that position is going to push them up. The one player that I think that if there was a question about him being a top 10 player, that's not a tackle, and the fact that now I know for sure he's a top 10 player is Isaiah Simmons, without a doubt. I think that he's checked off every box from film to now his sideline to sideline ability. He, without a doubt, will be drafted in the top 10. Book it. Okay,
man,
back to you. I'm sorry. I had to jump in there.
Man, once upon a time I thought Isaiah Simmons could fall to 17, but there's no way, man. There's no way. No. But yes, we want parity in the top 16. So Cowboy fans, what you're really rooting for is that one of these teams fall in love with Josh Jones and Austin Jackson. They're guys that I don't think are necessarily good enough to be top guys. They're guys that you can get on your team and like develop them. You can make them lift weights, give them like peanut butter sandwiches, and hopefully get their protein up. They can get bigger and stronger, because it happens every year. Guys like Titus Howard gets overly drafted. Guys like Andre Dillon, who are pretty good, but they got some development to go. But guys like that. So Josh Jones had a pretty, I don't even want to say pretty great Senior Bowl, because I feel like the Illuminati was kind of hyping him a little bit, because they'll come out and say, oh, Josh Jones from Houston, he's smoking the hell out of everybody at the Senior Bowl. And then Voch plays Senior Bowl practice on his channel. Y'all can go watch those videos. And Josh Jones getting whooped just like the rest of them. You know what I mean? It's just that he's a good size, he's a good body, and he has great movement. I don't really care, because we're not in the market for a tackle. You know what I'm saying? We just need tackle. We just need tackles to go. We're not in the market for quarterbacks. I mean, I wish it was a top running back that can go this year, because we ain't looking for him. You know what I mean? We want these defense guys to fall down. We want like all them, these wide receivers. That's who we want to fall. So quickly before I swing it back to you. And I just want to get your thoughts on how they did at the combine, and thoughts on them being top 16 guys. C.J. Henderson, cornerback from Florida, and Patrick Queen, linebacker from LSU. National Championship LSU. Those are guys that are probably, at first, C.J. was being mocked at 17, or he was being mocked at the end of the first round. Patrick Queen was late first round, early second round kind of guy. But we've seen both those guys. They had great combines. They tore their numbers up. They and plus the film checks out as well. We just kind of got that combine buzz or whatnot. So I think that they're going to be top 16 guys, and that's going to further push guys. What you think about those two prospects for us?
So Queen, I would have more pause on Queen, only because I just feel like teams would say I don't value the inside linebacker position.
Sure.
The way that I value corner or tackle. You're talking about guys, Voch, which you do a great job. I encourage everybody to go watch the film with Voch on these tackles, because, again, the league, we were talking about this the other day, the league is at an offensive line deficiency in a sense. Like, they're just bad linemen everywhere. But that doesn't mean that these guys that are about to get drafted are great. That just means that they have great traits, but they're not well-rounded. They're only, to me, like, Wirfs is really a real well-rounded tackle. I think Beckman can be, but he has a lot of flaws as well on tape, but he's just so damn athletic that you can't pass on him. But anyway, now Henderson is definitely, I think, a 17 and up player, and definitely in play for the Cowboys at 17, like totally in play. Sure. For the Cowboys at 17. And he did nothing but help his stock, the way he ran, his hips, the fluidity, and the tape checks out. He had a great battle with LSU. He lost some reps. But if you're losing reps, this is another thing. And I want to make this very clear. A.J. Terrell, he's getting pegged as a bad corner because he's lost reps to Jamar Chase, or he's gotten beat by Jamar Chase. You follow me, Voch?
Sure. That happens. And I was talking on my cornerback. It was like a live stream or something. I was talking about, there are three themes that we got to talk about with the cornerbacks this year. Is where they fit in terms of how teams are going to use them. We can get into that if you want to. Tackling, that's a very interesting topic amongst the guys that we have this year. But
Voch.
Yeah, what's up? Hold on. Something happened to Foot. Hold on. Let me see. What's going on? Yo. Okay, Foot's gone. But Foot will be back. And the third theme that I talked about was how they do versus competition. And A.J. Terrell is absolutely a guy that got smoked under competition. Christian Fulton is also a guy that got smoked under competition. Trevon Diggs is another guy that got smoked under competition. Even C.J. Henderson. If you watch his tape versus LSU, you saw him get smoked by Jamar Chase. But that just lets you know how great Jamar Chase is. He just kind of went on this run smoking these SEC cornerbacks, but that's neither here nor there. Let me try to get Foots back up here. That's neither here nor there. I think the only cornerback that didn't really lose to big competition was Jeff Okudah. You know what I mean? And Jeff Okudah going to be a top 5 pick, top 10 pick, top 8 or 9 or so pick. We don't know what's going to happen with these quarterbacks and these offensive linemen. So I think what Fuss is saying, don't let his play versus big competition deter you from looking at a cornerback, like A.J. Terrell from Clemson. Now, I'm not trying to draft A.J. Terrell from Clemson. Don't get this wrong, and this ain't got nothing to do with my hate or disdain for cornerbacks. I just wouldn't go A.J. Terrell from Clemson. If I had to go a cornerback, I'm going C.J. Henderson. I ain't going cornerback. I'll just wait later. But me and Foots had an interesting conversation about. Pull this up. We had an interesting conversation about not being forced to draft cornerbacks in the first round just because Byron's gone. And the chat box funny with the Metal Gear Solid. That said it all, Chris. You're like, Foots. That is funny. Oh God, that's funny. All right, Foots coming back. Let's get Foots up here. Hold on, let me hit the button. He's connecting his devices. Let's get Foots up here. Hold on. He's reconnecting. Y'all, please hang tight, man. Let's not say nothing crazy about Brother Foots, please. I was actually taking notes on linebacker as he was talking about cornerbacks. I got an interesting list in terms of trends and players being taken and where they were taken, and I want to share it with y'all, but I want to wait till Brother Foots get here. I was writing down, Foots was saying teams valuing linebackers or whatever. So I decided to sit back and think about linebackers that were taken in the top 16 or so. 16. So yeah, Foots is working. Foots is working on that. So let me just say this. So we're talking about linebackers, right? Foots was trying to gauge the value of a linebacker. We was talking about Patrick Queen. I think if you like a linebacker enough, you just kind of go ahead and take him, regardless of whether you feel like he belongs there or whatever. And this is not talking about edge guys, because edge guys is something different. In the past few years, Devin White went number 5. Devin Bush went number 10. Roquan Smith from Georgia went number 8 to the Bears. Tremaine Edmonds went 16, interestingly enough. So I don't really think that there's a – what am I trying to say? I don't think there's a position value problem with linebacker. I think if the guy can run, I think you like him enough, I think you'll take him. You'll take him top 16. I'm not a fan of taking no linebackers top 16 because that's just where I'm at in this draft. I feel like I got linebackers on this team. Well, I got starting linebackers. I got Van Der Esch and I got Jalen Smith. And I don't think that the vibes are so it's not an emergency to go draft linebackers. It's an emergency to draft defensive tackles. You see what I mean? So I'm not in a super big rush there. Let's get in the chat box, man, while we wait on Brother, because I see him trying to get back in here. I see Brother Foots trying to get back in here. He just figuring it out. Let me take a sip of water. Hold on. Let me get in the chat box, see what y'all talking about. To say that dude Edmonds be making plays for Buffalo. I forgot where the hell Tremaine Edmonds went to school at. Virginia Tech, I believe. Yeah, Tremaine Edmonds went to Virginia Tech. Hey, man, if you can run, these teams draft you, man. I think Devin Bush was drafted a little high at 10, if you ask me. He's a smaller guy, but he was drafted because he can run, because he can fly. Devin White, I think the same. It's turning into a league to where you kind of got to run around a little bit. What I think is going to happen is that these defenses are going to keep getting smaller, and that's going to make running the football get popular again, and people just going to start pounding the ball. So you might want to have some size in there, but as of now, man, people want linebackers that can run and can cover. And hell, you talking about Isaiah Simmons, you talking about Patrick Queen, you talking about Troy Dye, you talking about Murray from Oklahoma. All these guys can run, man. All these guys can run. For Pittsburgh, he's a really good. My man Foots acting like Mel. Hey, man, look, Foots gone. Let me check my. Okay, here we go. Foots trying to load back up. Wait a minute now. Here we go.
All right, I'm back.
Man,
I'm back.
What happened to your phone?
I don't know what happened, Voch.
You threw your phone out the window.
I have no idea.
Anyway,
I've
covered like 3 topics since you've been gone. But it's nothing for me to rewind a little bit because that's just how we do. You were talking about A.J. Terrell, and how
Yes.
he kind of got smoked in the championship games and people got a little worried about him. My notion was I have 3 themes for cornerbacks this year. And they were how they're going to be used for different teams, and that'll be, talking about how they get drafted or whatever. I was talking about tackling, and my third point, which was the one that I made the biggest point of, was how they did versus competition. Whether it be Terrell, whether it be Fulton, whether it be Diggs, even Henderson. I think everybody but Okuda did well in some places. But when they lined up against, some gangsters or whatever, they lost some reps. But that's what's supposed to happen. You lose reps against Jamar Chase is going to be really good. He's going to be a top whatever pick next year. So
Dog, he's really good.
He's really, really good.
Like, extremely good.
He's really, really good. So I don't want to be so I feel what you're saying in terms of being bullish about, I'm not going to draft a corner that got smoked in a championship game. Well, it's the championship game. all sides got smoked in the championship game. I got a linebacker point, but I'm gonna let you finish your cornerback point first. Go ahead.
I mean, honestly, you kind of hit it on the head. I mean, had it not been for those games, I think you look at Terrell as a late one, and I think you look at Fulton is a late one. Mm-hmm. But the receiving class and those guys, the funniest thing is like T. Higgins has kind of been like the forgotten about receiver, right, Voch?
Sure.
He's really good.
Sure.
Like, Higgins is really good.
Mm-hmm.
And, that doesn't mean, like, corners are going to get beat. And we'll talk about this when we get to our draft scenarios and our 3-round scenarios. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to reach from the corner, though the Cowboys are going to lose Byron Jones. Mm-hmm. Now, if Dallas evaluates Henderson and he's the guy, but, he has flaws, okay? The only one who doesn't have flaws in this class is, to me, Jeff Okudah. Yeah. Which, interesting enough, Voch, I've been finding ways to get him out of the top 10, which is crazy to me.
You're going to have to put some weed in this car to get him up out of there. I will say,
right.
I will say the least he can fall is like 8, and I think that's the least. You know what I mean? Like quarterbacks got to go. We got to get some somebody got to like
3 quarterbacks going in the top 10.
Sure. The linemen, somebody got to like Simmons and Brown more. Chase got to go up there. A lot of stuff got to happen, but Jeff Okudah shouldn't fall too far. I feel what you're saying in terms of
to talk about Okudah's falling real quick.
Okay.
The one here could be our saving grace.
Okay.
What do teams think about Jordan Love? Because if like you said, if teams start panicking, all right, Herbert gone. Sure. Oh wow, the Skins drafted too. Oh wow, and now you start seeing teams like, man, I got it. Team, listen, from everything that I've heard, read, and even watched, if Jordan Love is coached, he has maybe the highest ceiling out of all of these quarterbacks because the arm talent is that good.
True.
He needs a year.
True.
But so did Patrick Mahomes. So
let me ask you this though: you talking about talent, development, raw skills. What do you think about Jacob Eason? Because when you look, when you watch the combine, like you saw what he was able to do, and Eason probably got the best arm talent. Like physical arm talent, Eason probably got the best talent out of all of them. So
he's Josh Allen, yeah.
Right. So what you think happens with him? You think some team fell in love with that at the combine? They feel like, because look, you can win games with Josh Allen. You can go to the playoffs with damn Josh Allen. You know what I mean? Instead of making throws that he can't make, just make the throws that he can make. Play defense and run the football. Like that'll be your formula for winning games with him. So do you think Eason probably got some top 16 talks?
It depends. Evaluators will find a reason to draft a quarterback. I can see drafting Eason, the Patriots.
Yeah.
I can see the Patriots drafting Eason.
Yeah.
But then I also really like Jarrett Stidham as well. But the problem with Eason is I see too many. Like I like Jordan Love as a decision maker better than Eason. Eason is just like really, really hot, and he just like, why did you just throw that?
Sure.
Like you literally had no reason to throw that football. So the interceptions are kind of baffling to me. Herbert is going top 10,
Sure.
possibly top 5. Tua's going top 10, possibly top 5.
Sure.
And
Love
and
too.
Joe B is going 1, 2. So if you get 4
Mm-hmm.
in the top 10 with the tackles with Isaiah Simmons, Jeff Okudah could be staring you in the face. Let's say a team fell in love with Henry Ruggs. There's one team that's gonna value speed over all. It happens every year.
So you trying to move up to get Jeff Okudah, or you think somehow he gonna fall to 17? Like what are we doing? what are we doing? Because if we gonna move up to get Okudah, let's move up to get Simmons and stop playing so much.
Well, if you're gonna move up to get Okudah, you move up to get Simmons, no question. But Simmons will be gone by 7. For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
I would
Okudah,
love to see what people think as football players. Who's better, Isaiah Simmons or Jeff Okudah? I think that's an interesting conversation. Chat box. Out of these 3, because we're gonna segue in a little bit. Out of these 3, who's the best? Who would you rather have the most out of these 3? Jeff Okudah, Isaiah Simmons, Derrick Brown. Now, first, don't get into Derrick Brown yet, because I know we got a lot to say about Derrick Brown. I just so while you was gone, I did some writing. We were talking about linebackers, Patrick Queen possibly going top 16 and the value of linebackers going early. So I sat down and I thought about the last few years or so linebackers that went early. Devin White from LSU went 5. Devin Bush from Michigan went 10. Roquan Smith from Georgia went 8. Tremaine Edmonds from Virginia Tech went right at 16. Ryan Shazier from Ohio State went 15, and C.J. Mosley from Alabama went 17. So I do think it's a real thing for linebackers to go early, and I think teams are going to start to value fast linebackers, guys that can run, because if you're going to have any kind of hope with these teams that's playing quick game, that's trying to get the ball out quick, that's playing that Deebo Samuel kind of game that that's becoming popular now or whatever, you're going to need linebackers that can run and tackle. Once upon a time, your Mike linebacker had to be like this big swole dude that can take on blocks. But if you look at what Devin Bush was in Michigan, he wasn't that guy. He was a smaller physical dude, but for the most part, he was a guy that can run. You know what I mean? And I think Patrick Queen is a guy that can run. So I'm trying to figure out which one of these teams in this top 16 could use a linebacker that could run, that could possibly surprise us, taking Queen or somebody like that top 16. What? Wait. Add the string.
I got your. I'm here.
All right, cool. There you
I'm
go.
here, Vacho.
All right, go ahead.
So repeat that. Va's crazy. Futs. So yeah, it's kicking me out, but I'm staying in. Go ahead.
Linebackers. Teams are gonna value linebackers that can run. We're talking about Devin White, Devin Bush, Roquan Smith. I think we have a full blown need for linebackers. We could probably use some depth, but we got starters. But which team possibly top 16 could possibly use a guy like Patrick Queen?
Well, so the Bucs. The Bucs, even though they just drafted LSU player and Devin White. I still look at them as a team that could possibly, hey, let's double down. Teams have done that before as well. A team that could use linebacking help. Mm-hmm. What if Washington trades out of that pick?
Makes sense. Sure.
What if Washington trades out of 2, stockpiles, gets a 1 next year and a 2 this year?
Sure.
Because Washington linebackers stink. The Giants haven't had good linebackers since they were an organization. Oh. No, I'm just joking. But the fact is,
you ain't playing. You ain't told no lies, man.
But see, the drafter in me knows that the Lions can't pass on a tackle. Mm-hmm. Like they just can't. They would be utterly idiots to pass on a tackle, right, Voch? So, that's tricky because I just think that all these other positions except receiver kind of trump them. I want to jump back into your question about Simmons, Okudah, and Derrick Brown.
And it's funny because once upon a time, Derrick Brown was the clear consensus, right? But I'm seeing nothing but Isaiah Simmons in my chat box. You know what I mean? And I think the conversation should be Simmons or Okudah. That's what it should be. But in real life, I think Okudah is better at what he does. Like Jeff Okudah is truly an elite cornerback. Isaiah Simmons is really good at a lot of things. I think they're just different in that way.
Can I?
Go ahead.
I'm gonna give you my thoughts.
Go ahead.
I drive the Derrick Brown bus to my house every night.
Okay.
Derrick Brown, for me, I had a conversation where I could draft him over Chase Young. I think he's that good because I watched the LSU tape and they couldn't block him.
Yeah, couldn't block him. Yep.
Like they couldn't, and LSU had a really good offensive line.
Sure.
Like now, the combine, and we're gonna talk about it more, Voch, but the combine hurt him, obviously. Sure. But it hurt him to who? Because if you're tape guy, it didn't hurt him. Voch, you're a tape guy. Mm-hmm. The combine doesn't hurt Derrick Brown. Derrick Brown wins in small spaces. Sure. He wins with power and he wins with his hands. You see what I'm saying? He's a violent football player. Like, if I have somebody who can two-gap like him, who can get up the field, who doesn't have to come off the field on passing downs, why wouldn't I want him? You get what I'm saying?
There's a few facets to this conversation, though. Okay. And I feel like I must say I am a Derrick Brown fan because I'm about to hate on him a little bit. He kind of showed up fat a little bit, huh, Foots?
He was big. He was big.
He was a little fat.
And he didn't run well. He didn't run well at all.
And it's interesting that he weighed about the same as Ken Law and Neville Gallimore. And if I have some combine nerds, could y'all please help me with those numbers in the chat box there? He weighed about the same as those guys, but those guys were a lot more trim than him. You know what I mean? Interesting. So when I'm watching Derrick Brown, I'm like, shit, plug him in and B-gap and let him run. But after the combine, I'm like, yeah, that's a full-blown one-tech. So now the question is, do you take a one-tech that high? I don't think he's better than Chase Young. That's another conversation for us to have. But do you take one-techs that high? Like, is that gonna be behind some of the reasoning why you think Derrick Brown would fall? Because teams value other positions more than they value one-techs? Like, is that part of the conversation you would say?
Possibly.
Yeah.
Possibly. But see, here's the thing with the one tech, three tech, the whole nine. Here's my thing, Voch. Mm-hmm. When you cut on tape, have you ever seen Derrick Brown quit on a play?
That's true.
Ever?
That's true. You're right.
Have I ever not seen him be just mad like he's just violent coming off the ball?
There was only one player that gave Derrick Brown fits. One player. And that was 65 from Bama, Deontay Brown.
Yeah, they had a good battle.
Y'all go watch my film session. And he was the only singular player that gave Derrick Brown fits. The Oregon offensive line kind of did good collective work. Like, they're a fantastic unit. They did combos really well. They did, oh man, it's just tag combos. It was just top tier stuff what Oregon was able to do to kind of condense Derrick Brown. They didn't do it by themselves, but as a collective. But besides those two teams, Derrick Brown beat up on Florida. He beat up on Cushenberry, my possible center number one. Him and DeAndre, whatever the right guard is. Both those guys are pro prospects. And they did well at the Senior Bowl, but he tore both their asses up. I'm talking about LSU now. Tore both their asses up. And he just smoked everybody that he ran into. So I always go back to tape though, Fuzz. You're right. I always go back to tape.
Yeah, you tape guy, Voch.
I'm tape guy. But I think it's something behind him being fat at the combine and not being able to move. I think there's something to it.
You know what? As an evaluator, as a team, all those conversations are had. Okay, did he take this process serious enough?
Which goes into his work ethic, and can you sustain him for like 5 years? That's another conversation. You're right. Did he,
Voch? Did he take this process serious enough?
Because I tell you what, though, Foot. I tell you what, though, and I hate to cut you off. The last one tech type of guy that smoked the shit out of people, that kind of showed up to the combine fat and not really unathletic, and we kind of had questions about if he wanted it or not. Nick Fairley.
Yeah, and he wasn't good in the league, so you're right.
Boy, he was smoking the shit. That Cam Newton championship year. Oh, Nick Fairley he couldn't be blocked. He couldn't be blocked. He just didn't work
from
at
Auburn
it.
too. Wow.
Auburn, yeah, he just couldn't work. He didn't work at it. So that's we'll see.
No, that's actually a really good comp. That's something to think about. But those guys, you're right. Eating is so important. You look at Aaron Donald. I mean, I think he is really good naturally, but you look at the way he takes care of his body. It's one of those things to where it's like, when you get drafted, what do? Do you sit on your success, or do you continue to get better? And that's something that you kind of have to find out. Yeah. Again, when I watched Derrick Brown play, he at one point was my top defender. Does the combine hurt a little? Yes. But if he's for some weird reason, falls to 17, I'm running to the podium.
Sure, absolutely. Absolutely.
I don't care. I'll get him in shape.
If we have an opportunity to get Derrick Brown, don't be stupid. Big facts. Totally agree. This top 5 conversation we have, and this is he better than Chase conversation? Is he better than Isaiah conversation? That's all that is. Sure, absolutely.
No. He's definitely not better than Okudah. You can make the argument that at his position, Okudah was more dominant than Chase Young. Absolutely. And people may not be ready to talk about that either. But I mean, Jeff Okudah was really good, like just a bully out there. And I loved his response at the combine. A reporter asked him about it was some metric he had given up yards or something. He was like, "That's a false. I haven't given up any." It was really special. Like his yards, his passing yards allowed on him was something like crazy, like basically next to none.
Yeah.
And so you get into this mode of good players are gonna fall. Now Isaiah Simmons isn't gonna fall. He's the only one who was a guaranteed top 7 pick, no matter what. Chase Young is a guaranteed top 7 pick, no matter what. I think that Okudah, because what people aren't talking about is that the Lions could very well trade out. Okay, if they are still sold on Matt Stafford, the Lions could move.
Should they though? Should they trade? Like, should they? Because the Browns have done this a lot in the past few years or whatever. Instead of taking the best player, they just get cute and move around and end up taking Jabril Peppers and shit. You know what I mean? Like, should you just hang on to your picks and just be great there? Because that's another conversation in Cowboy land that we're kind of going through right now. People like, hey, should we trade back and try to get into the 20s? I feel you, but what if we miss a gangster at 17 just to go get somebody that's in the, you know what I'm saying?
No, the Lions absolutely should not. But the problem is you get, GMs always want picks, and coaches want good players. So who has the voice? And there will be some coaches that say, I don't need this guy, I can trade away. I'll be honest, the Lions should. It's two lines of thinking here. Where do you think Matt Stafford is? Can Matt Stafford still play? Okay, that's for Lions talk, which I haven't watched. I think the Lions actually were playing good ball until he got hurt, which was kind of weird. Yeah. So if that's the case, then you draft Jeff Okudah or you draft Isaiah Simmons and you go play football. So they could take your pick, flip a coin. You could draft either of those two, and the Lions, it can make sense for them because he's an upgrade over whatever you have there. Or the Lions could do like you said, do what bad teams do and trade away from a good player. Like it's never.
we could have had Chase Young, but instead we got AJ Epinesa and Van Jefferson.
Yeah, right, exactly. Because we wanted to put these. Right, exactly. Don't be cute. Go get it. Go get your guy. Go get a guy. And so that'll be interesting to see. But when them phones start ringing, Voch, how it gets on draft day, and somebody wants Jordan Love really bad. Because they got Jordan Love on their whiteboard, and they say, I'm going to use Jordan Love like this because I seen this team do this, like the Chargers. Everybody's forgetting that the Chargers need a quarterback. Everybody's forgetting that the Saints are a dark horse to need a quarterback. Like, there's a lot of teams that out of nowhere that still have good rosters. Listen to me now, Voch. That still have good rosters that could just say, you know what, Washington, we're coming up. Here go 2 first-round picks because guess what? Sean Payton is a great damn coach, and he knows how to find players everywhere else. He just has to have his guy at quarterback. May not be Taysom Hill. Maybe Jordan Love. You see what I'm saying? Sean Payton's a good coach. He'll find a way to get Jordan Love in a good system. You see what I mean, Vacho? So it's those conversations that I think that people, aren't really having. But, when it comes to quarterbacks, I wouldn't, you know what? Hell, I wouldn't be surprised if Jacob Eason is a top 15 pick. I'm not picking Jacob Eason in the first round.
Yeah.
I'm not. Foots isn't.
I'd be mad as hell if somebody took Eason, or if it was my team, like if I was the Colts and we took Eason or Love, I'd be pissed. But
I tell you right now, I would draft Jalen Hurts over Jacob Eason right now.
All right, folks, we're gonna move on. You won't hear me say nothing positive about Jalen Hurts on my damn show.
Oh no, you didn't. Here we go. Let's go. Let's get to these scenarios, man.
Josh Whitlock dropped a tray in the super chat. Great content. Salute. Appreciate you, fam. And Enemy Michael dropped the 10 in there. He says, does anyone in free agency change your mind about D-line at 17? And Fuss was kind of talking about this earlier with cornerbacks. Like, he wants to be on a point to where he doesn't want to panic and have to draft something. He wants this thing kind of shored up by the time we get to the draft, so we're not forced to draft corner. We're not forced to draft, edge or something like that. So, I mean, if we get a gangster at 3 tech and a gangster at 1 tech, I don't think that's gonna happen. I just think you just take the best guy. So, like let's just say, for instance, we get like Chris Jones or something, right? We get Chris Jones. And,
oh my God!
And Kinlaw's on the board.
We get draft free.
If Kinlaw is the best player on the board, just have Kinlaw and Chris Jones. Just be filthy at tackle. Just be ridiculous at tackle. You know what I mean?
Just have a really good defense, because those two instantly make your cornerback room better.
Absolutely. I'll tell you exactly who I want when we get into these scenarios, though. But what Fuss was saying earlier about cornerback was he didn't want to be forced to draft a cornerback in the first round because of Byron. So I think we got Jordan and Cheeto. Like, I'll draft a nickel guy in the 5th round if it works out, or we'll see what happens in free agency. Trust me, y'all, we saying this, but hey, dog, this is gonna be a whole nother conversation by the time we get to the middle of April, because things are gonna be filled up and fixed up by then. So we'll see. It's gonna be interesting, and that's what I kind of did. I wanted to throw Cowboys fans some different scenarios, just to kind of get their brain jogging. Like you said, one of my scenarios does have to do with free agency, in case we can't sign a guy back. So, are we getting into this, Voch? Let's talk, man. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do these round scenarios. We have some round scenarios, rounds 1, 2, and 3. Just kind of give y'all some combinations of names that you could be looking for. Y'all know my philosophy or whatever. Brother Fuss is a whole nother can of beans or whatever, but we gonna get into it. Brother Fuss, go first, sir.
Okay, so with draft scenario 1, we went 3 round ideas, and with this one, I wanted to attack my safety position because I have the best safety on the board, or 1A, 1B, whichever one you want. Now, got to figure out what Delpit does at his pro day, because he didn't work out, which is fine because I'm sure he'll have a great pro day. But for this scenario, for this exercise, I went Xavier McKinney. And if you guys have been following my page for a while, McKinney has been on my radar. He may be new to some, but he's a guy who can really do it all. He's really a really intelligent player. He's really a gritty player. He has the will to. Him and Delpit are 1A, 1B. I just think that Delpit, either way you want it, I think Delpit has a little bit more playmaking ability, but I do believe that McKinney is a very solid player. And at 1, if you want to get a safety on the back end and sure up some things, he's played in big games. I think that McKinney helps. Now, in the second round, this might surprise some people, but what if we don't re-sign Randall Cobbs? And we may not, okay? I know everybody's thinking that, because McCarthy the whole 9. Yeah, I get it, but what if we don't?
Yeah.
I went Brandon Ayuk.
Okay. Arizona State.
And I think that his combine, I think that his film, I think that his size, and I think that his run after the catch and the route running, he instantly, if nothing else, he instantly comes in and can work the slot. You can get him the ball in space, and he can make plays instantly. Like, he's an instant upgrade over what we have, not named Randall Cobb.
Sure.
Number 2, he is physical with the ball in his hands, and he just looks – he's a polished run after the catch guy. So you guys let me know what you guys think of Brandon Ayuk. I really like his film. I do like Denzel Mims, but I'm just kind of nervous when it comes to Baylor receivers.
Sure.
I'm kind of nervous. All right. So I like Brandon Ayuk. He's sharp. Played with Herm Edwards, played under an NFL coach. I do take that very serious. Herm Edwards has actually done a great job with that Arizona State program.
That's a great point.
Yeah. I mean, Ayuk is really solid. And then number 3, I think that Anthony Brown can play on the outside. But I'm going to replace him on the inside with Darnay Holmes from UCLA. He ran really well at the combine. I think that he will be there in the 3rd round. I think that he could play some slot for you. He's not a true outside guy, all right? You don't really want him guarding the best receiver, but he's smart enough to play the slot, and I really like him a lot. So my 3-round combo, Xavier McKinney, Brandon Ayuk, Darnay Holmes, I would really like that a lot.
I ain't mad at you, brother Foots. Safety, man. Safety. Strong safety at the first pick, man. That's kind of hard on me, man. It's just kind of poking me in my bones a little bit. Have you heard my theory about taking wide receivers later?
What's your theory about you?
Okay, here's my theory. And I've said this on a couple shows, but, people listen at different times or whatever. So, there's this talking point that's going around talking about drafting receivers, right? And say, hey, why would teams take a receiver early? They'll just take one later, right? I think that only applies with the first 3 guys, or it shouldn't apply to the first 3 guys, because ain't nobody like Lamb, ain't nobody like Judy, ain't nobody like Ruggs. But after that, I think it's really gonna go into effect after that, because your guy, Brandon Ayuk, right? Brandon Ayuk is good. I really like him, but you can get a similar guy in Duvernay. You know what I mean? Or if,
that's true.
Or if you want like Higgins, Mims is there. If you want Michael Pittman, Colin Johnson is there. Those just like similar type players or whatever. And
they will be there in the 3rd and the 4th. I like Colin Johnson a lot. I went with him.
Absolutely.
In a 5-rounder that I did. I like him. I like Van Jefferson. I've drafted him before. I just wanted to give you guys some new names.
Absolutely.
So I get what you're saying. This receiver class is stupid. I
just think there should be no human on earth that says, hey, let's pass up on CeeDee Lamb because we can get whoever the hell in the 3rd. I don't want to hear that shit because ain't no CeeDee Lambs in the 3rd. So I'm taking CeeDee Lamb at 17, my guy. You know what I mean?
Oh.
You know what I mean? Assuming, and I don't want nobody in the chat box say it can't happen, because I'll go on this long ass letting you know how it can happen, right? If business gets taken care of in free agency, right?
Okay.
Assuming Cowboys take care of business, we looking at the defense like, hey, this motherfucker, hey, this bitch, this the one. If we get that on defense, I feel good about going wide receiver with my first pick. Now
with Amari Cooper and Michael Gallup on his team.
Shit, yeah. Play that boy. Okay. Play CeeDee Lamb anywhere. Just whatever. 2nd round, I'm looking at 2nd round tackles, right? D tackles. I don't think a guy like Marlon Davidson is going to be there. If someone asks me what's my dream scenario, give me Marlon Davidson at 51. Can it happen? Sure. A lot of wild things happen in the draft. Cody Ford was a 2nd round pick. He shouldn't have been, right? But Marlon Davidson probably won't be there, but I'm looking for that. If I can get a guy like Neville Gallimore, a guy like Blacklock, TCU, I'm not a Matabuike fan. Some people are. Davon Hamilton. But I'm getting these guys with context, folks. I'm getting these guys assuming that my D-line is stacked already. Because these guys I named are guys that aren't going to help you year 1. They're guys that are going to have to develop and be great later. You see what I mean?
Yeah, they're already Tristan Hill. So you need a guy who can play.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
I totally agree.
Assuming that my D-line look pretty, I don't mind getting one of these guys at some point. You know what I mean? 2nd round, possibly. But I want somebody that's going to help me kind of sort of quasi immediately. So I look at linebacker, right?
Okay.
This is how linebacker can help you today. It can help you with rotation. You can get a guy to come in and play Sam today. Also, we got a brand new special teams coach that kind of want to rip shit to shreds. So I'm looking at my second round linebackers. I'm looking at guys like Jordan Brooks from Texas Tech, Malik Harrison, Troy Dye from Oregon or whatever. I'm probably gonna take one of those. So give me Troy Dye from Oregon. He can come in. He can play will linebacker if anything happens. Y'all know Sean Lee like to lay down and go out. We don't know if he's gonna be on the team. He can play kickoff for you. Play, you know what I'm saying? All that type of stuff. He can play Sam. I'm looking at a guy like Troy Dye from linebacker, and I'm not a fan of taking linebacker early, but if you look at what the Cowboys need in terms of where and also in terms of where Troy's probably going to be at, we're going to need linebacker at some point. I'd rather take the good ones before the bad ones run out. Something that'll really help us is to know how the hell we gonna play cornerback, how we gonna play defense, right? Because you can take cornerbacks early or later, depending on what you do as a team. If you're more of a man scheme, you'll value a guy like Christian Fulton a little more. I'm not saying he's a third round pick. I'm just making an example. You'll value a guy like Christian Fulton more. But if you playing cover 3, you'll like a guy. What's my man's from Mississippi State?
I love
Dantzler, right? People were kind of down on Dantzler's 40 time, but if you playing cover 3, you'll like Cam Dantzler a little more than Trevon Diggs. You know what I mean?
Dog, go watch. Hold on. Go watch Cam Dantzler play against Jamar Chase.
Sure.
And you tell me he's the only one. Dog, and this is one thing I like about Dantzler. Now, the speed, no, and that is a stopwatch position, so I get it. Like, I get evaluators dropping him. Sure. But he is so chippy, dog. He is so gritty, and he can play off.
Sure.
He can play off, man. Sure. Listen, Dantzler, I seriously considered in this scenario, and I'll give you my next one. Mm-hmm. I seriously considered drafting Dantzler.
Sure.
Yeah, but I didn't mean to cut you off. It was just one of those things where
I'm thinking if we, like, in my mind, I'm just processing. Like, if we play cover 3 a lot, Dantzler's a guy that you can get late that can come in and start for you because he's an ideal cover 3 guy. What's the guy that's on our team? The long guy with the dreads. He's a practice squad dude. Kind of just come back every now and then.
Donovan
Alumba.
Yeah,
he's another example of a guy that that he won't be great in some schemes, but if you limit him to a certain scheme, he'll be fantastic. Like Richard Sherman can't go play man against somebody. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
We've seen
we saw that in the Pro Bowl.
We saw that in the Pro Bowl.
I mean the Super Bowl.
Super Bowl.
Not the Super Bowl. Yeah.
My man's from the Redskins that just got shipped somewhere else. Josh Norman's not.
And you know what? They have comparable 40 times. So
right. He's not a man cover guy neither. But you take these slower, longer guys and put them in cover 3. Hey man, they could work out for you. But I said all that to say I'm not looking at cornerback. I'm just kind of discussing things and giving people brain work. This is where I want to kind of get into edge a little bit. I kind of want to get into D-line a little bit because we didn't address that in my first and second pick. I think Jason Strowbridge from North Carolina is going to be my third pick because I passed up on D-line on purpose because there was a lot of developmental guys there. Jason Strowbridge is also a developmental guy, but you can get him in the third. He can play 3-tech and end for you. Plus, he was smoking a lot of ass at the Senior Bowl. Y'all go watch my Senior Bowl videos. I think he'll be there like 81. He's a top 100 player to me. He'll be there. So I got CeeDee Lamb 1, Troy Dye 2, Jason Strowbridge 3. That's my first mock.
I like your outside thinking with the receiver. I mean, hey, the offense was already good. Everybody's saying defense, but hey, if you have a chance to make your offense better,
sure,
why not? Go out and outscore people. That's fine.
If we take care of business in free agency, I don't mind taking receiver. But if we need D-line and Kinlaw is up there, then of course we got to do what makes sense. But assuming that we go sign a 3-tech that's good and we got a bunch of ones that can play, we got depth at linebacker, man, give me the receiver and stop playing. Go ahead, Foots.
And so my second scenario, guys, a name that people are now 17 may be rich for him, but I was telling you I have a lot of inside personnel on this player.
Sure.
I think a player that people really are forgetting. So the defensive end class, let's talk about it for a second.
Sure.
It's been kind of touted as weak, especially with Epinesa not, testing off the charts.
Mm-hmm.
But this Udar Gross-Matos, all right, I drafted him at 17 with this scenario, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
The motor, good. But his pad level, I want you guys to go watch his pad level, his hands, and his strike level. And he's not the sack artist of a Dwight Freeney, but he explodes so well. And he's stout against the run. Very stout against the run. I have a buddy, and I plug him all the time on my channel, that plays at Penn State. So he's played against Chase, and he's played against Gross-Matos. And Chase is more polished. He's coached better. That's what he tells me. He's coached better. But Gross-Matos is really good. Hands are good. He's savvy, and he can play the run. That's a name that hasn't been touted to the Cowboys. But do we know what's going on with Robert Quinn?
They was talking about like making him priority guy, like making him one of the guys that we would bring back. So, we won't know till April, but they were just talking.
We won't know till April.
Sure.
Okay, if you can't get him done for whatever reason, now what you got at DN?
Sure.
DeMarcus Lawrence, an aging Tyrone Crawford, who, I think for my money is better inside, but and who else? What? Donovan? Not Donovan. It's so bad I can't remember his name because he hasn't done much. Our guy from Kansas. Kind of want him to come along. Huh?
Damn, what's the boy name from Kansas? DeMarcus. Not DeMarcus. Damn, what's the boy? Not Joe Jackson. What's the boy from Kansas?
Not Joe Jackson.
Start with a D. What's his name?
And that's sad, man.
Chat box,
not
please.
Daniel Wise.
No, not Daniel Wise. Our boy from Kansas, the defensive end that we took.
And that's what I'm saying.
Dorrance
Armstrong.
Dorrance Armstrong. There you go.
Yeah, and so you banking on Dorrance Armstrong? No. At least with Gross-Matos, you can get a guy in there who he's better. He's a better player than Dorrance Armstrong, first of all.
Let me ask you.
So he'll come in and he's better. And he can do some things stunt-wise inside. I like him.
Let me ask you 2 questions about Gross-Matos, Foots. Because, of course, we're gonna disagree about him a little bit. What do you think about his consistency? About him able to do these things game in and game out?
So there have been games where you're like, damn, did he play?
Sure.
Then there's games where he's just absolutely taking over the game. I think some of that has to do with scheme and what they were asking him to do at Penn State.
That is true.
And then some of that, Penn State they do some weird stuff. They switched them all over the formation.
Played a lot of zero, played a lot of linebacker, which made me sick. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think just looking at traits and looking at his motor, that's really what I like about Gross-Matos. In the second round, this may surprise a lot of people. Well, it shouldn't, because all I've seen him do is be consistent. And for my money, I know everybody loved Albert O because he ran fast. He doesn't play like that on tape.
No.
And I'm going to draft Bryson Hopkins in the second round. Okay. And I'm going to feel good about it because he's won the draft process to me. Everybody's talking about, the Dayton tight end. Well, he looks slow and his hips look bad. None of these guys are great blockers. So I heard something the other day and it was really good. I was like, wow, I never thought of it like that, but it's true.
Sure.
If I want to, first of all, the days of the complete tight end are possibly done. Okay. Kittle, yes, Iowa guy, I get it. He is a great tight end. He is complete. But other than that, who? Hunter Henry? So if I got a guy who can be a weapon and can give me something as a blocker, like Hopkins will give me something as a blocker. Mm-hmm. He will. But I'm looking at him as a pass catcher who doesn't drop anything, whose hips are good, whose route running ability is good. And I just think that, with Jason Witten gone, Schultz and Jarwin isn't enough.
Sure.
And I also don't know how tough Jarwin is. Like, he's just not tough. And I'm looking at a Hopkins who, on a bad team, yes, but he was that bright spot and was consistent. So I'm going to draft Bryson Hopkins. Hey, I've been seeing mocks that got him pushed up all the way to 50.
They can have him.
That's what I'm saying.
I ain't drafting no tight ends, brother Fuss. I'm sorry. I ain't drafting no tight ends, fam. I'm gonna let you finish though. Go ahead.
And in my last pick, Voch, I want Ashton Davis because I think just with the process, I think he's gonna fall to the third.
Okay.
And I still think that's good value as the tight end. So, as a safety.
Safe to say.
Safety from California. Sideline to sideline guy.
I tell you what, there's only 2 real free safeties that we can get excited about, and that's Delpit and Davis. So, the rest of them either ain't good or they play in the box. So, my 3 guys, I'm kind of taking a different route or whatever, from the first 3 picks. This is just projecting. This ain't even what my final thing will be. Look, Fuzz, I made a tweet earlier talking shit about Cowboy fans, right? But, me. I was like, Cowboy fans, hey, if Javon Kinlaw's knee makes him fall to number 17, we should absolutely take him. And I was like, also Cowboy fans, yeah, we shouldn't have never drafted Van Der Esch. We knew his neck was hurting. What do you think about that? What do you think about that line about that anger that I spewed out?
I think that if Javon Kinlaw's knee allows him, you run to the podium.
Absolutely.
Like,
absolutely.
People are nuts. People are nuts, Voch.
Yeah, that's why I'm taking Kinlaw with my first pick, and I'm not losing no kind of sleep about it.
Oh no.
Second round, I wanted to take the best corner available, but that's gonna require a little more research and development. I don't know how we're going to play corner. If anything, I'm looking for a guy that can play nickel and that can play outside a little bit. Just kind of give us a little more versatility to move guys around in that way. Give me 30 seconds. Noah Igbenogany. I got it. From Auburn, right? Physical player. He can play inside, play outside.
Very physical player, chippy player.
You know what I'm saying? I think his temperament goes along with the kind of Jordan Lewis temperament that you get two angry corners. And hey, I think you can win with angry football players. I want as many angry guys on my defense as I could possibly get. So Noah Igbenogany is going to be my second round pick. I'm going to take him, plug him in at the nickel, and I'm gonna go tackle people. I'm gonna go be physical. I'm gonna go jam people, and we're gonna smoke a lot of ass and hope people don't throw a Cheeto all day. Curveball, which is kind of different than my first pick, but I'm going a pure edge guy, like strictly for the pass rush here. I thought about Zach Bond, but I feel like he'll be gone. Julian Okwara will be gone. Go ahead.
Zach Bond, dog.
From Wisconsin.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Yes.
I like him, too.
Yes.
I like him, too.
Yes.
But I had more faith.
It's a good name, Voch.
I had more faith in second-round corners than third-round corners. Than third round rushers than second round. I could find a rusher in the second round. Corners may get a little iffy. Julian Okwara is another guy like that. Bradley and Nas, another like that. I think those guys may be gone. But a guy that I think is going to be around at the 81st pick is Josh Uche from Michigan. Nasty bend, nasty first step.
Yeah, that's a good one, Voch.
Nasty ball get off. We going to run a 4-3, but Nolan may have our weak side defensive end standing up a little bit. I think that's Josh Uche's game, man. You get him in here, put some pounds on him, maybe like 10, so he don't get too big, and just let him pass rush off that right side. We're not looking for a complete player in the third round, but so he's not going to give you much versus the run. But if it's a clear passing situation, you get you a nasty pass rusher to get you like 7 sacks a year or something like that in the third round. I think that's some pretty good value.
He looked good at the combine, Voch.
Hell yeah, he can run all over the place.
Uche looked good. That's really good outside thinking, and that's kind of why I could see myself drafting Bond. Bond wouldn't be there in the third, but in the second I could draft him because he could stand up too. Yeah, and you see he's kind of that tweener mold, and I just like Wisconsin football players.
You know who I think made Zach Bond a lot of money? I think T.J. Watt. And this
Totally,
ain't necessarily a player comparison, so let me live there. But when TJ Watt first came out, he was a pass rusher that played linebacker as well, like flat out off ball linebacker. And Zach Bond does the same kind of things. TJ Watt
does it well.
He does it well. He's a different kind of pass rusher. He's more of a speedy outside bend kind of guy. Watt's more of a hand power move dude. But they're similar in that way. Not a player comparison, but they are relatively similar. But I think he's probably going to be taken like early second. Somebody may reach and take him in the late first. I don't know. But I just don't think Zach Bond's going to be there. But I do like him.
Oh man, both of those names. So Uche and Bond are, like you said, tweener guys who against the run, that's fine, but they give you some. They're what Mike Nolan is looking for, and that's kind of so. The upgraded version of both of those players to me is Chason. That's why I can see Dallas.
Sure.
If so the LSU Pro Day guys is going to be very.
It's a lot
important.
of people there. There's a lot of people that Pro Day.
Listen,
boy, some people.
Listen.
Listen.
Hey, Moss too.
Let's see.
The tight end.
So Joe Burrow, 6'4", 270, Clyde. Justin Jefferson, Thaddeus Moss is going to be there. D. Lyman, Rashard Lawrence, Kayvon Chason, Patrick Queen, Christian Fulton, and Grant Delpit. No wonder they won the damn championship.
Right. No wonder they won it. And 3 of those players the Cowboys could draft.
Sure enough.
All right, you can draft Moss. Hey, who knows?
Sure.
You could draft Chason. And you could draft Delpit. You're definitely going there and all eyes on Grant Delpit. And you're talking to him and I think that Grant Delpit is going to win Cowboys evaluators over with his interviewing process. So, for me, tabling this thing, free agency wise, the Cowboys haven't been big players. I think them bringing in a Robert Quinn, though, may change that from last year in the Cobb. That now they see you need to have a good mix. Because if you sell yourself short, and, being honest, I'm depending on a Tristan Hill to give me snaps. And he couldn't.
Sure.
And we suffered.
Sure.
And that's no fault of Tristan Hill's. That was just, I heard Rob Marinelli stood on the table for Tristan Hill.
Yeah.
It was a bad idea.
I think Tristan is going to be fantastic, Brother Foots. But
I think he is too.
Right. But we'll see. We'll see what happens.
But the big thing is, though, Voch, he wasn't ready last year.
He wasn't ready.
And he wasn't ready. And so you protect yourself.
Sure.
And I think that Dallas has to do that. Now, you're going to lose Byron Jones. So you need to sign a veteran corner. Who that may be, I don't know.
Sure.
But you need to sign a guy who can come in and get you through a training camp. Because it's looking like Byron Jones is going to make a lot of money. And it's just funny how Cowboys fans hated him.
$18 million is what I saw.
Yeah, he's going to make that. Because you can't – he's never hurt. This is what I tell Cowboys fans. Be careful of interceptions. He plays every game, and teams don't throw at him. Whether he's not Dion, but teams don't throw at him. And when they do, he's always in position. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? So – it'll be interesting, but I want Dallas to be able to draft free. I want if CeeDee Lamb's there and you evaluate CeeDee Lamb and he makes your team better, you draft CeeDee Lamb.
Tell you what,
don't draft the safety because we haven't drafted a safety in years.
There you go.
You draft CeeDee Lamb.
There you go. You got it.
So,
Fuss, how fun would this thing be? And we can finally put Coop in the slot and run CeeDee Lamb and damn Michael Gallup out there. How fun would this thing be, man? Oh, goodness.
You got it. You got 2,000-yard receivers again, and then you got a 700-yard receiver.
Jesus.
And if Coop gets hurt or he wants to go out, you're good.
Big facts.
Damn, that's crazy.
And then watch this though. Like Cooper, like let's say he signs like a 5-year contract. Only 3 of that gonna be guaranteed. So CeeDee Lamb gonna have a 5-year contract off his rookie shit. So
let's watch this.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna guarantee it. You guys save this episode.
Oh boy.
CeeDee Lamb.
Oh god.
Henry Ruggs. Or Jerry Jeudy, one of the 3 will be there at 17.
Oh, absolutely. I totally agree. And I'm going to be sick if we don't take one of them first. I'm going to be sick.
If he grades out, and I'm going to be honest, the Kinlaw, even with the knee, Kinlaw's going higher than 17. You can forget it. He'll go to Atlanta before he falls. If you don't grade the safeties, now we're talking about your big board over. Now you're not talking about need. This is why you got to be able to draft free.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't grade the safeties high, then you take the receiver.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
You take the receiver.
Absolutely. One.
Because we're gonna do a few calls. I got about 10 more minutes, Voch. You wanna do a few calls?
Because the receiver would be better, like regardless. The receiver would be the best player. Yeah.
Welcome. This service
Hold on, let me
is
just mute this real fast because it's gonna make a little noise. We're gonna do that and we're gonna hit the button. Hold on. So we setting these phone lines up. I just muted Foots. He understands. It started. All right, we cool. Hey, if y'all want to call into the show, we got 10 minutes to take y'all calls. That means we can't sit up and
all
have
participants are muted and they can unmute
that
themselves.
means we can't have a long ass conversation like we would normally have, like if this was a regular show. So come in, get your questions. We doing all right. You know what I'm saying? We're all excited for the draft. We can't wait. Get them in. So if y'all want to call into the show, the number is on the screen. It's in the description. See what y'all got to say to Voch Lombardi and Brother Foots here. Let's see. Foots, you still active? There you go. You good. Foots. Damn, we lost Foots. well, we had Foots. We had Foots, but Foots kind of checked out on us. We had Foots. He was so young. All right, so let's get these phones going. And we got Brother Joe up. Hold on, let me see if we can get Foots back. Hold on, Joe, give me 30 seconds, see if I can get Foots back. Because Foots just checked out. Hey, get y'all spot in line because we only taking like 5 calls. So like get in and get out and get on with your life. Brother Foots, you back?
I'm here, Vacho.
All right, we're going to live through this. All right, we got some callers, Foots. We're not going to be here forever. You got 10 minutes. We're going to get them in and get them right back out. Let's go, Joe. What's up, Joe? Quickly.
Sure. Yeah, and the thing you talk about corner, I totally get it. I watched tapes on a lot of these corners.
Uh-huh.
I'd rather not go there like first round.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of guys that do the same stuff.
Sure.
Okay, that's a good call, Joe.
All right, Joe.
Any other questions?
Hey, yeah.
Sure. One question: do you think Ashton Davis could start potentially on this team?
Can Ashton Davis?
That's a good one. That's a good one, Joe. Okay.
Appreciate it, Joe.
What part do you want to take, Voch?
I think Ashton Davis can absolutely come in and play free safety for you. I think he's a better free safety than what you would have with X Woods or whatnot. But how much does he upgrade you? Like, how far does he upgrade you? Plus, where you're at in the draft, Ashton Davis versus who's on the board right now. That's where it's going to get tricky with him because he's really going to be like a late second kind of guy, but it's going to be some gangsters on the board with him. You see what I mean? So,
totally. And Joe, to answer your corner question, that's a great call, by the way.
Yeah.
So it all goes back to what are you asking? This is why I encourage fans to understand what is the scheme asking a player to do.
Sure.
All right, so if he's off the ball, if he's 5 yards off the ball, he's in some sort of a zone, whether it's cover 2, cover 3. Mm-hmm. How is he playing that? How does he recognize what's going on? Mm-hmm. If you can get a Dantzler in the 3rd round and you're playing a lot of cover 3, which Mike Nolan has done in the past,
sure.
Okay, that's great. I think the Cheeto is best in off coverage. I think that when he's up on receivers, he gets in trouble. So it's all about knowing the player, knowing what he's being asked to do, and then having him go out and execute. Scheme, exactly. Joseph Sandberg is spot on. Scheme is so important. What are you asking these guys to do? Same with the Ashton Davis. Unlike Voch, I don't know if Voch doesn't love him, but I love Ashton Davis. I think he's a little undersized, but he can run.
Sure. And
he can get sideline to sideline. I think now what that does is, okay, now X Woods is in the box and Jeff Heath is off the field, which we've been trying to get to happen for 4 years now. So we'll see what happens.
Set it off, Chris. What's happening, man?
What's up, fellas, man? Outstanding show, man. Great show in the middle of the day, man. Hey, but Foots, going back to what you're talking about with Jeff Heath, you really want Jeff Heath on your team for no more than 20, 25 snaps anyway, because you want to be a core special teamer. And that was the one thing about Byron when you were making a comment about Byron. Byron was a core special teamers too. And that's what the one thing we're going to miss at that cornerback position is being a gunner and being one of those guys.
Yeah.
But, man, outstanding show, man. I love the fact that, you know, all this is great speculation because, like you said, you're going to throw up at 17 because one of those wide receivers is going to be there, and you're going to say, hey, but we got these other wide receivers here. But my thing is, I've seen projections where Delpit gets out the first round, which I can't understand how he does that. I don't see how he does that at all. I don't see how. Well, I'm going to change his name because I want people to totally forget about him. So he's sitting there maybe in the second round, and I'll move up. So his new name is Drad Delpit for me because I want you to totally forget about him. Totally forget about him. So he's sitting there, but man, you turn around, you got one of those three monsters. Which of those three? I'm gonna go like my man 100 Grand said. Yeah. I want Jerry Jeudy at 17. I want Jerry Jeudy at 17.
The only way I wouldn't get a receiver at 17 is if Kinlaw somehow gets there or set it off. Chris puts so much weed in Isaiah Simmons' car that
man, I've been trying to put exotic monkeys, tigers, Asian women, all kinds of stuff in that dude's car. Man, he got a great security team. That dude got a great security team. I'm trying to get him caught on tape and everything. Please.
And I'm gonna tell you this, and I'm gonna tell you this too. This is a great call, by the way, brother. Appreciate you.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
When you talk about Delpit, if that were to happen, I would not be mad if Dallas walked away in the first 2 days with CeeDee Lamb and Grant Delpit. Now, if you trade, if let's say he does fall out of the first, and Dallas says, you know what, we're trading up because we want to get a playmaker, and you trade, I don't know what you got to give up, what the draft chart says, but guess what? I can live, right? Yeah. Because I now have a starter. Now Jeff Heath is off the field. He's a core special teamer. And now if I get Grant Delpit from 2 years ago, because Draft Twitter and Draft World has randomly made Grant Delpit a bad player for whatever reason, because he missed a few tackles.
Let him fall.
Yeah. If that's the case, hey, then if I'm Dallas, I'm proactive and I'm trusting all the tape and I'm putting all the film together, because if you're looking at his junior tape, his sophomore tape, he's a top 10 player, top 5 at maybe, and he comes from a good pedigree at LSU. So I totally would be fine. If you're telling me right now that I'm drafting Jerry Jeudy and Grant Delpit at the top of the second,
I'm doing
and
backflips.
I don't have a third or a fourth round pick, I'm fine. I'm good.
I'm doing backflip. I will trade up to get him. Set it off, Chris. Fantastic call, my good sir.
Hey, man, love hearing talking to you guys, man. I keep listening, man. We'll talk later, man.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, bro.
Yo, Fuzz, my audience is top tier, dog. He said,
y'all. I love these dudes, Voch. I love these people.
He said he looking for the best weed, some tigers, and some Asian women. He's just gonna put them all around Isaiah Simmons and get it on camera so he can fall to 7. Come on, son.
What Asian women do to you, Chris? No, just
let's get through these calls quickly so Brother Fuzz can get the hell up out of here. Raider Bob, what's happening, man?
Simmons ain't going to go past 12.
All right, I'm about to hang up on Raider Bob. I'm playing Raider Bob. What's good? What you got for the show?
Yeah, so I think all those 3 receivers will get down to you guys, or 2 out of the 3.
Sure.
And I'd like to get CeeDee Lamb at 19, and then in the 3rd round get Hurts.
Okay.
CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb was an eraser for Hurts.
I see what he's doing. I see what he's doing.
Man.
I see what he's doing.
Man.
Yeah, I agree.
I see what he's doing.
I feel you, Raider Bob. Hey, Raider Bob, we can't have a long show with you, but I appreciate you. Thank you so much for coming into the show. Fuzz, like, if Grant Delpit is on the board at 33, I don't forget that 4th round pick. Or whatever I gotta do.
Forget. Listen, because I know I just got 2 1s. Okay, I just got 2 1s. So yeah, and you know what? Raider Bob is right. Simmons would not sniff his way past the Raiders. So listen, at the end of the day, this is going to be. I just want to see how Dallas plays this now, Voch.
Sure.
Okay. And I'll be honest with you. Grant Delpit really reminds me of a prime Clinton Dix.
Sure.
In his prime in Green Bay, where he was making plays on what? On that Mike McCarthy team. So, you know, I know Mike McCarthy does value safety play. He does. He does value safety play. So let's see how that turns out. That was a great call.
Interesting. You got time for like one more?
Yeah, let's do one more.
Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Let's see. Ryan was here first. Sorry the other two. Sorry Zach Knowles. Sorry 214. Ryan, quickly, what's happening?
Hey, what's up, guys? Thank you for the great show. But I got a scenario to talk to you guys about that I've seen. If one of the big offensive linemen drop and are there at 17, like Andrew Thomas or Becton, Willis, or Tristan, do you think the Cowboys should draft them or go for needs?
Hey, Ryan, don't be asking me personal questions like that. That's gonna put me in compromising position to say things live on the live stream like that, man. Why would you even do it? I just talked about how bad I want receiver, how bad I want Simmons, how bad I want safety at why would you plague my mind with the idea of having a top tier offensive lineman at 17? Because Foots, I'll do it. I'll
tell you right now.
I'll do it.
I'll tell you right now. If Tristan Wirfs, if he's sitting there,
goodness,
I'm plugging him at guard and I'll figure out the rest.
Let me tell you something, man. It ain't gonna be pretty. It ain't gonna be sexy. Cowboy fans gonna hate it. They might boo. But God, Tristan Wirfs at 17 you can't pass up on that.
You couldn't.
I'm running
even
to
for
the podium.
even for the receiver, for me, because offensive line play, we've seen, all right, and stay with me now, and that was a great call, by the way.
Yeah.
We've seen an offensive line and running play.
Appreciate it, Ryan.
Beat Baltimore.
Yeah.
We've seen them go to Baltimore and win. We've seen them go to New England and win.
Yeah.
With decent receiver play, I like A.J. Brown. I like Corey Davis. Decent receiver. A.J. Brown is going to be a star.
Sure.
Corey Davis, he's okay.
Sure.
Yeah. Decent quarterback play in Ryan Tannehill. Good running back play. Great offensive line play. Just amazing offensive line play. So I would do that even more so than the receiver. Yes, without a doubt. But it's not going to happen. Offensive lineman, you have too many needs. Somebody will trade up. If you start seeing Andrew Thomas fall, then get prepared for these trade-up scenarios. If the Skins traded back, they'll trade back up because they have to now replace Trent Williams. You'll see all these scenarios. Tackles go. I remember when we drafted Tyron Smith, you had to get him in the top 10 because he was that good. I don't think there's a player in this draft, maybe outside of Becton, that could have the ceiling of a Tyron Smith because of the athleticism. Yeah. But they'll go. They're part of the reason why I think Dallas will have good players available at 17. Delpit will be there. That's a fact. Now it's talking about will a Derrick Brown fall? We don't know what the hell gonna happen. I know that one of the three, Judy, Ruggs, or CeeDee Lamb will be there. Okay, so it's just about now you make your choice. Atlanta doesn't need a receiver. They got two great ones. Tampa Bay has glaring needs that they just can't draft a receiver when you have Mike Evans over there. So, man, you guys let me know. But I'll tell you now that the tackles won't fall.
Foots, that just frustrated the hell out of me, dog. Because now I'm like, bro, like what if Wirfs on the board with Judy? Then what?
Mm-hmm.
I think how I would grade it, if Wirfs is on the board with Ruggs, I take Wirfs.
Mm-hmm.
If he's on the board with like Delpit, I take Wirfs.
Mm-hmm.
Wirfs is a better prospect than Kinlaw. Honestly, he's a better offensive lineman. Because
then Kinlaw is a D tackle.
Yeah. And then Kinlaw with the injury and all that. Man, you could play Wirfs at left guard today. And start him. And whenever the hell Tyron Smith say, all right, y'all, I'm good, you can put his ass right at left tackle. That is crazy. I ain't think about that shit. Brother Foots, great show, man. Great show.
Yeah. Joey's asking, do we do draft guys? Nope. YouTube is our draft guy. So the reason why I try to stay away from draft guys is because, to be honest, I read them, but I don't do them because, to be honest, it starts to be redundant with players and what they could be. Enough of these guys. So these punters that you see doing the draft guys, they may know scheme on the top maybe 100 players, 150.
Yeah.
But when you start getting down into, the back end of the draft, you don't know what coaches were asking these guys, especially small school guys. You just don't know because there's not enough time in the day to do the research, and you would literally have to have a whole team to put together a true draft guy. So what Voch does, what I do is I just speak on what I see.
Yeah.
And now I will say, I think as we get closer, I want to do more of these with you, Voch, and I think that we owe it to the fans. And I really appreciate this group of Cowboys fans and this group of Raiders fans and this group of draft fans because I hate hearing people say, well, why would I do research on the draft when I'm not going to draft these guys? Dog, it's just knowing who these players are, knowing what they did good, and just having more knowledge. And I appreciate these fans
who
team really care about draft stuff.
My team good over here. My team watch film. We, talk about it. Man, you should drop in on one of my Tuesday and Thursday live streams, man. It's not a Cowboy stream. It's just overall draft. You know what I'm saying? Just come and hear the theories in there. Just come and hear the vibes in there, man. My chat box, clap it up for yourself. Y'all did well. We didn't get
I'm gonna pull up on you, man. I'm gonna pull up on you. But
plug yourself.
As always, thanks. Yeah, thank you again for having me, big bro. Big little bro. You guys make sure you check me out at Footsta King on Twitter. FOO. I put it in the chat box. FOO TS DI. Let me see. What am I doing, Bacho?
Damn, Fusses.
There we go right there. There we go. You guys check me out on Twitter. Check out Cowboys Nation TV. And then also, I want to give a shout out to one of my buddies who watches us, Voch.
Okay.
He's one of my a big mentor to me in the coaching world in the DMV area. My man, Coach Swags, he coached with the City Life Raptors. I coached with the Bowie Broncos. My team is ranked. But just the fact that he shows love, I've learned a lot from him as being a coach. And he loves your channel, Voch. He loves what we do.
Man.
And that's cool to have that support, man. And you have a bigger reach than you know, big bro. And what you do, Voch, is second to none. Nobody has your swag. Nobody has your eye. And, we get on here, we debate. But at the end of the day, it's all for the love of football, man. So thanks for having me, big bro. Seriously.
Big salute. Appreciate you, Footsta King, for coming through, spreading that knowledge. I don't do a lot of collab shows with him. I don't do a lot. I don't have too many guests on the show. But when I do, it all works out, man. Y'all go watch my Jeff Okuda film session. I ain't got to plug nothing. Y'all own my channel already. We don't do draft guides, but what our draft guides are is these videos. So, I don't want to type up a 3 paragraphs, whatever. I'd rather show you the film and tell you how I feel. I'd rather do a top 5. I'd rather tell you top draft, scenarios or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, so me and Foots don't do that, but we do get our thoughts out. So go check his channel out, Cowboy Nation TV. It's in the chat box. You can go click it, go sub to him. Some fantastic knowledge over there, and y'all know me. Y'all hold it down for the Doski Woski, man. The Peasky Whiskey don't cost you nothing. There's a big basket full of it at the door. Why don't you grab you some? Peace.